The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is... This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Ben Armstrong, the broadcaster, investor, and cryptocurrency influencer. You are the founder of the Bitboy Crypto YouTube channel, where you post daily market updates addressing all the latest news to a massive community of crypto enthusiasts. Your aim is to provide education and entertainment in equal measure and have amassed the largest following of any crypto platform with over 5 million total subscribers. You have spent the last month in the Bahamas on the trail of Sam Bankman-Fried, having previously warned all of us about the impending collapse of FTX. Following his arrest, you said SBF deserves to go to jail for a very long time, and that you are concerned that extradition to the US will make it too easy and make him, quote unquote, just another white-collar criminal. You believe the fallout from this controversy will continue to have a deep impact on the crypto industry and individual investors alike. Ben, welcome back to London Real.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely glad to be on. Always enjoyed chatting with you, Brian. And I'm sure we're going to get into some good stuff today.
Oh my gosh, we got a lot to talk about. I just want to say that you were here on September 21st on this show, talking all about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, warning us what was going to happen. I interviewed you on stage in Dubai at the GITEX conference, and you were screaming out that this was going to happen in earshot of the FTX booth, right? And you know, I do what I always do. I sit and listen, and we listened, and then we watched it all unravel. You were just down in the Bahamas. You were in the courtroom where Sam walks in, says to his lawyer, "That's Bitboy Crypto," and you said, "quote, he looked me dead in the eyes, and we had the moment." Ben, what has your life been like the last couple of weeks? Explain it.
It has been absolutely insane. I mean, we've been front running this story, obviously, for a while. Now, when I say front running the story, I knew he was bad news when I figured out what he was doing with regulation. And we started figuring out what they were doing as business practices at FTX. We never dreamed when we got into this, the insolvency was as big as it was. So, you know, do want to say that, like, it's not like when I was on your show, it's saying it's definitely insolvent. We were explaining that there are so many bad business practices that they were creating fake markets. Well, I guess the next step of that was obviously, well, if they're creating fake markets, then that's going to have an effect on insolvency. And the way that worked is when they were creating these fake markets with synthetic assets, people would withdraw the real assets, and that's what was leaving the insolvency hole, and they would counterfeit more coins to cover it. But, you know, my life has been really crazy ever since I was a child, I guess. But it's been a little bit crazier here the last few months as we've been tracking Sam down through the Bahamas. We were the first people to go down there and get inside of the Albany and try to get him to talk. His parents called the security on us. It wouldn't let us. I mean, you know, what is he, 12? You know, parents called security on us, and they ended up kicking us out. But we went down there to get answers. And what people are going to understand when there's a full documentary that's going to be coming out about all this that we've been working on. Along with another with a documentary film group. They filmed one of the GameStop shows on HBO Go. People are going to find we're down there to get answers. We were not down there for clicks. I mean, did I know that when I went down there, it was going to break Twitter and people were going to go insane? Yeah, obviously. Is that why we did it? No, we went down there because I want answers to what is happening down there. We still don't have answers, but we don't have answers from Sam, but we've uncovered so much stuff, including we're the only people in the United States that are sitting on evidence of the $300 million worth of properties that they funnel customer funds to. And we know that because we've talked to Congress. Nobody else has it for us. They're waiting for us to give that to them to be able to nail down some stuff that they're hiding from the bankruptcy. They think it could be up to $1 billion worth of property down there that FTX is hidden. We know John Ray, the CEO of FTX, now the bankruptcy lawyer, he just came out and said, oh yeah, actually now we found almost $1 billion worth of cash Well, there's a lot more than that down there in the Bahamas, and we're at a very pivotal time right now. As he's been extradited this morning, the Bahamian government is trying to steal all those assets. They're trying to steal all those assets for themselves, keep them out of the bankruptcy so they don't go to customer funds. The Bahamian government's wrapped all up into this as well, and that's what people on the ground don't know. So the thing I'm the most proud of over the last couple months has been we actually know what is happening down in the Bahamas with the government and their relationship with FTX, and nobody else has this information. I mean, we went to the trial on Monday, man, as soon as I walked in the court, he saw me over his lawyer's shoulder. He turned around and whispered to his lawyer. Somebody that I know that was there actually heard him say, "Oh my gosh, Bitboy is here." And so there was definitely a moment where he sat down on the left side of me, and I turned and I waved right at him. We stared me dead in the face, had the moment. That's what I had really been waiting for. Everybody knows he wasn't going to answer the questions that I have. He was absolutely not going to ever answer the questions I have because they're too hard. If he can't answer the softball questions they were asking him on Twitter Spaces and from the New York Times and on Good Morning America, then my God, he has no chance against me. And he knows I'd shred him like a piece of paper in a shredding machine.
Is that the first time that you two were together in the same room in that courthouse?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen him in person.
Would you have ever guessed that would have happened in a Bahamian courtroom as your first meeting, not at some conference or some investor dinner or something?
No, I would have never imagined. I mean, I go back to 2019. I cannot remember exactly what it was, but it was the first time that he really came across my feed. He was in a big argument with somebody over DeFi, and it was turned into a big thing. It was, I guess, in November of 2019. I was like, who is this guy? I really started looking into him. And then, I know Wendy considered him to be a friend at one point. I love Crypto Wendy. I mean, we've been together creating content since the very beginning of when we started our accounts. And for a long time, she had like a pretty good relationship with him. And so, it's kind of thing where I've kind of watched at a distance. I have friends that have been close to him, but I had never spoken to him before. Now, I did speak to him when I was in the Bahamas the first time a couple weeks ago. We did text back and forth. He told me what he liked on his pizza. Very bizarre. I don't know, did you ever see those screenshots of that conversation?
Yeah, I saw that because you posted him because he had just unblocked you, right? And you guys were DMing.
Yeah, well, he unblocked me as a result of our text messages.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And so one of the things, the most bizarre thing, he asked me if I was the CEO of FTX in charge of everything global, all the assets, what would I do? And I was just like, what a bizarre question to ask a YouTuber. As the CEO of the second biggest crypto empire that exists, what would I do? And it just goes to show the delusion of him.
I saw that and it struck me as weird, although his behavior across that whole 2-week period seemed very weird. I want to take it back to a couple points, but the big one you mentioned was you went down to the Albany, which was that kind of penthouse place he was living. And I watched you go down there. Again, I just hung out with you in Dubai, and you've been on the show many times. And so it was just really, it was like a weird reality show watching you go down there. Everyone's watching you kind of live on YouTube. What struck me as odd is that you're like, we're the first ones down here trying to get an interview. And this is like a 10, 20, $30 billion, company that's gone to zero, and no other media had gone down there. And then of course, after you went down there, everyone came in with their interviews. But it was just strangely odd. The New York Times continued to go ahead and have him remotely into their dealbook thing, which was again extremely odd.
Not when you know the relationship between Andrew Sorkin and SBF, which is a whole other story. But
right, okay, and I want to get into that. But like when you go down there and you're there at that, did you find it odd when you were down there and nobody else was there? What was the vibe? Because when you get on the ground, you start picking up lots of little details.
I would say it surprised me 0%. Okay. I had people that that's why we went down. That's why we went down there, because I was so sick and tired of hearing people say things like, he's being protected by the military down there. I had somebody literally tell me, well, be prepared at the airport. You're going to get stopped by the military. No, I'm not. This guy doesn't have friends. You've seen his parents are the ones protecting him. His parents are the ones, they're actually allowing him to incriminate himself so they don't go to jail. But you saw them on the balcony, walking around, pacing on the phone. There's no security there. Funny story, actually. When I was down there this last week, we had a full security team. Do you know who my full security team was?
Who's that?
His personal bodyguard for years. So we had the entire FTX real security team that was in charge of Sam was helping us down in the Bahamas this week. They were protecting us, which was a very interesting twist of fate, to say that, because they don't have a job now, obviously.
Yeah.
There's nobody down there that there was nobody down there protecting it. He couldn't afford security. Sam's out of money. The government has taken all his assets. He doesn't have anything. And I knew that was the case. You could just tell the fact that he was walking in a grocery store by himself, the fact that they've got footage of him running away from someone in the Albany, which I hear really was him if people have seen that clip. I knew there was nobody down there. All I wanted to go down there is go and show everybody. And that's what we did. So we had managed to basically, within a couple hours of landing at the airport in the Bahamas on Saturday, I had a full team there 36 hours before me, scouting, trying to figure out what we were going to do. 2 hours after I landed, we were in the Albany. It's not hard. It's not hard to get in there. We ate dinner. We had dinner at one of the restaurants before we went and we really started doing stuff. We went and took the famous picture of the penthouse up there that just said, like, Sam, where you at? Like, we're out here. Can't remember exactly what it said, but like that was what really got people going and people tweeting. And then we went and we had dinner, had some wings and, had a little steak. And, we chatted with all the people at the restaurant where we were. I can't remember the name of the restaurant in the Albany. The Albany is a big place. It's huge. It's a compound.
It's like
go ahead.
But the Bahamas is like an hour away from Miami, and yet no other media had bothered to go there for what anybody could tell was probably going to be the biggest story of the year.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're scared. Because people are scared out there. I don't know why. My fear receptor is broken and people haven't been able to figure that out yet. Like what we did, he was so safe and he was so comfortable in that penthouse. And there's a reason why that media tour started right after we were there. We did the equivalent of threw a digital sledgehammer through his window. As soon as people realized that there was no protection and there was nobody down there, everybody felt like we can go in and we can go after this guy and we can ask questions and we can kind of get interviews. We destroyed his safety blanket. That's all that ever needed to happen. Somebody just needed to go down there and do that. And, I think we had actually talked about going down there about a week and a half earlier, but I said, well, he's going to get arrested any day now. Any day he's going to get arrested. Well, it goes a week and a half later. We're like, he ain't getting arrested. He's comfortable down there. And one of the best things we did while we were down there in the Bahamas is connect with Lincoln Bain. We did a panel with him on Saturday night. Lincoln Bain, he ran for prime minister. He lost. I believe 100% the next election he's going to win. We're going to help him win because this guy he's a lot like me. He's a clean up corruption guy. He does not stand for what's happening in the government there. And the Bahamian people are awesome. Like, we never met one person from the Bahamas that was rude or disrespectful. They're all such great people, and they don't deserve what the government does to them. And then you look at what the United States has done to absolutely rape their resources. The Bahamas gets a fraction. They have like over $1 trillion worth of exports a year, and the United States takes almost all of it. And so we really want, like, I've grown to really love the Bahamas and really grown to love the people that are down there as well. And so working with Lincoln on the ground has given us insight that other people just don't have. Like, you don't get the insight of a person that not only he has a law degree, he's got another degree here in the United States, he got a law degree from London. He's ran for prime minister. This is about as boots on the ground as you can get in the Bahamas. And he's really been helping us and guiding us. And we got a lot of next steps. We're filing a lawsuit. It's either being filed today or tomorrow against Sam and against FTX. And I'll tell people this. If we win this lawsuit, it is going to have massive repercussions. Unfortunately, obviously, as it is a lawsuit, I don't want to get into the details because I don't want to show our hand. But there's a way that we're going to help people get money back. And it's going to be the kind of thing that people are going to really, really love to see that we're doing and we're fighting for. And nobody else is fighting for the people. The media doesn't care. The ABC News does not care. Good Morning America does not care. YouTubers don't care. All they want to do is they want to sit and they want to report on the stories and they want to take a 30,000 foot view. We're the only people that are kicking in doors and trying to get answers and trying to fight for the people.
What comes next now? Sam is still in the Bahamas.
He got extradited this morning. I believe he's en route right now to New York.
Okay, where's he going? To New York? Is he going to that Southern District of New York prison, the same one Epstein was in?
That's where he's going.
That's where he's going, which is not a nice place to be, right? It's like Lower Manhattan or Rikers Island.
Well, it's not Rikers. It's not Rikers because he's going to be federal. So
Okay,
they're going to have
Lower
it's going to
Manhattan.
be a white collar federal prison that he's going to. But he's actually worked out bail supposedly. That was part of the extradition. we believe he's actually going to be out on bail. I don't think he's actually going to go to prison. He's got to do a hearing, which will probably be tomorrow, I would guess, or later this week, maybe next week. I mean, it is Christmas, so I'm not sure. Maybe it'll change the schedule a little bit, but he's not going to sit in there long. He's going to get the Elizabeth Holmes treatment. He's going to get out, which I'm really shocked at. And it's not happened yet, but he doesn't have any friends. That's what people have to understand about Sam. He doesn't have friends in the government. He is crapped over every politician he gave money to. They're not friends of his. He doesn't have money, so it's not like he's paying people off. His parents are on the outs. People want to stay away from his parents. They're toxic. They're the ones that were really behind this whole scam. So they're not going to help him. They're almost out of money. Their assets in the Bahamas have been stolen. So I'm really confused on what kind of leverage he's using to be able to get this preferential treatment. It's really interesting because everybody knows in the world of politics, you're only as good as how much money you have. When you don't have money to support politicians anymore, then why would they help you? You're of no use to them. You're only an albatross around their neck, and that's what he is to a lot of people. So it is a little disappointing that he was extradited. We want to see him punished more in the Bahamian jail. Once he get here, he's just another criminal. And he's going to get out on bail as well. And, that kind of sucks because he's going to be free. You have the man who literally has screwed over more people financially than anybody else in history. And he's going to be free, even if it's only for a couple of years. But at the end of the day, this guy's getting serious time. He's not going to, there's no way to flip. Caroline's already flipped on him. There's not bigger fish here. There's not bigger players. The only people above him in this scam are his parents and Dan Friedberg. And Gary Wang as well. But Gary Wang's CCP, he's already back in China. We'll never see Gary Wang again. He's a ghost. Never expect to see anything from Gary Wang again. He'll probably disappear forever. Sam Trabucco, former CEO of Alameda, he'll probably be in some trouble. But, I mean, he's still under SBF. So I'm just not sure what leverage he has here unless he rats out his parents. If he rats out his parents, then that could be some serious stuff. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think they brainwashed him and kept him doped up since he was a child.
And then again, does the government really want his parents, or are they happy just with him? You mentioned Carol. She was spotted getting coffee in New York a couple weeks ago. Are we pretty sure that she's there? And did she cut a deal? And also there's the Ryan Salame guy, which I think is now reported that he has cooperated with Fed officials.
He's a whistleblower.
Okay, yeah.
Ryan Salame's the whistleblower. He's the one that outed the entire thing to the Bahamas.
He did. Okay, but once he saw there was problems, he told the whole Bahamian government that it was all Alameda was taking customer funds, and
he was shocked. So Ryan Salame comes out as there's a couple people that come out looking like they're good actors here, and then we'll get to Caroline, of course. But when it comes to the good actors, you have Brett Harrison, looks like he was a good actor, who's the CEO of FTX US. Then you look at Ryan Miller, who is the attorney for the bankruptcy. He was in some of those meetings with Gary Gensler and FTX. So I'd be very interested. I think he's going to talk one day and going to explain what happened in those. So he looks like he's a good character. And then Ryan Salame, he's the one that initially blew the whistle on the entire thing. Now comes to Caroline. So you mentioned she was in New York. That was what they call, and I've talked to lawyers about this who know what's going on in this case. That's called the Queen of the Day tour. That's where basically you show up and you do a photo op. That was not a mistake that she was at that place. She knew 100% sure when she walked into that coffee shop, she was going to be photoed and put on Twitter. She didn't try to hide it. She had the dog with her, which we heard the dog died actually this week due to negligence, what we heard, unfortunately. But it was the FTX pet. She had the dog with her in New York. She got the pictures taken. This was a message to Sam.
Right.
A message to Sam that I have flipped. Now, why would she flip? Well, I said on November 9th, when all this stuff went down with Binance, I made a video. And in that video, I literally say, Caroline, you're going to have to flip. It's going to be the only way to save yourself. And sure enough, she has. The reason
she was the CEO of Alameda, or head of risk management? CEO of Alameda, right. So that was the trading, the
venture capital arm.
Yeah, the venture capital arm that they ran kind of on the side with all the capital from FTX whenever they wanted.
Right. Well, the thing about Caroline I really want to say here, though, is that there's a reason why the timing of that photo was very important. That was at the very end of that week where Sam had been doing interviews that entire week long, right? Sam was trying to do two things in these interviews. Well, three things, really. He was trying to look like he was dumb and didn't know anything. Nobody buys that. Number two, he was trying to reposition what he did as not a crime, but a mismanagement of funds. because there's a difference. A mismanagement of funds and in fraud are two totally different things. Number 3, he was trying to blame everything on Caroline.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.